after leading my team to a world championship. I capped off a nearly perfect performance by hoisting the FMVP trophy. You'd think that would be the high point. Instead, the team was immediately bought out by some multinational corporation. The new owner, the CEO's daughter, Haley Reid, who parachuted in with zero experience. Her first order of business was to force me to take a pay cut. This is a 5-person game, Leo, not the Leo Vance show, she'd said, her voice dripping with condescension. You only got that FMVP because the team enabled you. It's a mutual achievement. My organization doesn't need heroics, and that's why I can't offer you a max contract. I stared at the offer sheet. My salary wasn't just staying flat. It was cut by 30%. I turned around and announced I was entering free agency. Within an hour, my agent's phone was blowing up with calls from every other team in the league. Even teams from the European and Korean leagues were sending offers. I was going to show her exactly what an FMVP is worth. It was almost 11 p.m. by the time I left the afterparty at the team headquarters. We'd just gotten back from Europe, and our old owner had given us the heads up a while back. The team was changing hands after this season. So, the party was more than just a celebration of a championship 3 years in the making. It was a farewell. We were toasting to the fact that we'd finally made our dream a reality and wishing our old boss the best. He wasn't a billionaire, but he was always straight with us. Selling the team after a world title, especially to a major corporation, was a smart move. No one blamed him. The new owner, we were told, was the daughter of some corporate titan. We'd all seen the news alerts. Her name was Haley Reid. She'd spent years studying and living abroad, curating an image as a well-known influencer who loved sharing her picture-perfect life. Her return to the States was trending on Twitter. The narrative was that she was back, degree in hand, ready to take over her father's empire. Haley, ever the opportunist, went live on Twitch to address the hype. She put on a humble act, insisting she was new to all of this and still had a lot to learn. That, she claimed, was why her father bought her Team Horizon. First, it played right into her gamer girl persona, making it seem like she was familiar with the esports industry. Second, running a team is, in theory, simpler than running a normal company, and with Horizon fresh off a world championship, the internal structure was stable. It was supposed to be a practice run for her. During the party, one of my teammates pulled up her stream. A pretty, young woman sat in front of the camera, a proud smirk playing on her lips. Don't worry, everyone. In my hands, Team Horizon will reach even greater heights, she announced. I'm going to integrate the most advanced management philosophies from Europe into the team's daily operations. Just you wait and see. I just shook my head. It was normal for a new owner to say all the right things, but I hoped she wouldn't actually try to screw things up. Mark, our team manager who was confirmed to be staying on, said he'd already spoken with her. The plan was simple. Keep the roster. All 5 of us were in our prime. Lock in the current lineup, and next year's results were practically guaranteed. I figured that was the whole reason her father bought Team Horizon in the first place. Between the jet lag and the alcohol, I crashed the moment I got home. I didn't wake up until noon the next day, thanks to a call from Mark. Hey Mark, what's up? His voice on the other end sounded strained. Leo, can you come down to the facility? Our new owner is here. She wants to talk to you about your new contract. I agreed without a second thought. I had just one finals MVP. I figured renewing my contract would be a formality. I shot a quick text to my agent and headed over by myself. The second I walked into the building, Mark hustled me into the main conference room. Across the long, mahogany table, Haley Reid sat dressed in a sharp white blazer, her eyes fixed on me with an icy stare. I tried to break the tension with a friendly hello. She offered a barely perceptible nod, her frigid expression unwavering. Okay, I thought this heiress has a serious attitude problem, but she was the boss, and I was just a player, so I kept my mouth shut and sat down. Haley motioned for Mark to hand me the contract proposal. My contracts were always 2-year deals. Because the team was sold, our previous owner had negotiated for our old contracts to be voided. He'd done it so we could all get a pay raise a year early, especially after winning a championship and getting picked up by a corporate giant with deep pockets. I was grateful, but I wasn't greedy. I would have been happy with a 10% raise. As the FMVP, I felt that was more than fair. But when my eyes landed on the number on the page in front of me, I froze. Not only was there no raise, my salary had been cut by 30%. Seeing my reaction, Haley finally spoke. Leo, I know you're the core of Team Horizon. I'm well aware of your long-standing performance. She began, her tone radiating superiority. And you just won the FMVP at Worlds. I know all of this. The way she looked at me made my skin crawl, like I was some beggar pleading for a handout. But you need to understand, this game isn't a one-man show. It's about the collaborative synergy of a 5-person unit. Your stats look good because the coach deliberately funneled team resources into you. You won that MVP trophy as a result of mutual achievement with the team. She leaned forward, a condescending smile on her face. So, I hope you realize that if you want to continue winning, you're going to have to make a sacrifice for the team in your contract. I'm here to bring the most advanced management philosophies to Horizon, she continued, her voice swelling with self-importance. I'm going to build this team into a global esports powerhouse. She paused for effect. And my first rule, there will be no max contract players in my organization. I'm going to enforce team-wide egalitarianism. I was speechless. On her streams, Haley talked about esports with such confidence you'd think she was an expert. How could she say something so childishly naive? If everyone was equal, who becomes the core? Who carries the pressure? Who initiates the plays that drive the team strategy? I instantly regretted not bringing my agent. This woman was a total fraud. All show and no substance. Her arrogance was too much. Ms. Reed, I said, my voice tight, is this your advanced philosophy? Haley's face lit up with pride. Of course, I spent 5 years in Europe, and I've had extensive discussions with numerous European organizations. I'm going to model Horizon after the top European powerhouses. Next to me, Mark looked like he'd just swallowed a bug. I had to bite back a laugh. Ms. Reed, with all due respect, those European powerhouses you're talking about, we absolutely demolished them, round after round at Worlds. They didn't even make it to the quarterfinals. The only reason they practice egalitarianism, I added, is because none of their players are good enough to step up and carry. Mark gave a subtle, affirming nod. Haley's face flushed a deep red. She shot a death glare at Mark, then turned back to me. I'm the owner of this team. Do I need you to teach me how to do my job? Let me tell you something. So what if you're good? I'm the boss. You're the employee. You'd better learn your place. That was it. The gloves were off. Then let me officially inform you, I said, standing up. I reject your offer. Haley dropped her high and mighty act and snapped. Let me tell you something. Without Team Horizon, you're nothing. Without our system, you'll be warming the bench on some other team. I turned and walked out. The reigning finals MVP, warming a bench? I had nothing more to say to the new owner. I'd barely made it out the front door when Mark came running after me. We'd been through the trenches together for 3 years. There was still a bond there. He told me Haley's whole gamer girl persona was a sham, a carefully constructed image to attract male followers. I wasn't surprised. No one who actually followed the scene could make statements that clueless. Mark looked completely dejected. I told her from the start we needed to re-sign the whole roster. Any team that wins a championship gives its players raises. It's an unwritten rule in this industry. Especially you, Leo. You're the heart of the team. A max contract is a no-brainer. But she said, he continued, his voice laced with frustration, that if she just gave everyone a raise and the team won again, it wouldn't prove anything about her abilities. Her plan was to make an example out of you, lowball you, and then if the team still won, she could brag about how she got the FMVP for cheap and showcase her brilliant management skills. I was so angry I just rolled my eyes at a loss for words. I shouldn't be telling you this, Mark said, but we've worked together for years, and you deserve to be treated right. If I didn't have 2 years left on my contract, I'd be out of here too. I thanked him and left the facility without looking back. The first thing I did when I got home was call my agent, Izzy. I walked her through everything that had just happened. Izzy Croft is a force of nature. She's one of the top agents in the business, representing a roster of star players, not just me. She'd been out of town handling another client's affairs, assuming Horizon's contract talks would be delayed because of the ownership change. She never expected the new owner would try to pull a power play on me the first chance she got. After I finished, she was silent for a moment. Then, her voice was steel. I'm handing my work here off to my assistant. Don't move. I'll be back tomorrow. 3. Izzy was the single most important person in my professional career. When I was just a rookie coming up from the Challenger League, I was bouncing between mediocre teams, my career going nowhere fast. Izzy was already a legend, a super agent with an unbelievable network. But for some reason, she saw something in me. She fought for my contracts. She mapped out my career path. Even though she already had a stable of famous players, she always told me she believed I would make it. Leo, your potential is limitless, she would say. You have to become the player your fans are hoping for. With her handling everything else, I could focus solely on the game. My performance skyrocketed. After my first contract was up, I landed on Team Horizon, and together with 4 other guys, we clawed our way to the top, finally lifting the championship trophy this year. The story of how Izzy discovered and mentored me had become something of a legend in the esports world. But nobody could have predicted this mess. The next morning, Izzy showed up at my apartment, all business. After we went over the details again, she immediately started dialing the team. I waved my hand. Forget it, Izzy. I don't want to go back. She fixed me with her big, sharp eyes. You sure? I nodded firmly. Positive. I'm done with Horizon. Just like 3 years ago, I'm ready for a new team. I want to chase another title. A look of relief washed over her face. That's the nature of this business, she said, her tone softening. Careers are short. If a place isn't right for you, we move on, and we do it fast. She gave me a sly wink. Leo, you know the drill. I believe you can keep getting better. Just then, her call connected. The person on the other end was Mark, and Izzy immediately laid into him. He was completely helpless, knowing he couldn't afford to get on her bad side, and tried desperately to explain. I spoke up for him, telling her it was all the new owner's doing and had nothing to do with anyone else. Izzy hung up and collapsed onto my couch with an exasperated sigh. She unbuttoned her long, beige trench coat, casually propping her long legs, clad in gray stockings, on my gaming chair. She's a stunning woman, but unlike a porcelain doll like Haley Reid, Izzy's business savvy was far more impressive than her looks. That woman is infuriating, she grumbled. She was only 30, but she loved referring to herself in the third person with an air of seniority. She called it projecting maturity. Give me your boss's number. I need to give her a piece of my mind on your behalf. I told her to let it go, thinking about Haley's ridiculous statements. Arguing with her is pointless. It's like talking to a brick wall. Besides, I didn't want to burn the whole place down. My old teammates and the staff were still there, and I didn't want to make things harder for them. Izzy reluctantly put her phone away, still muttering under her breath. She proceeded to stress-eat 3 bags of potato chips and down a can of Coke before she left. On her way out, she snagged a bag of my gummy bears. We agreed on the plan. I would officially enter the market as a free agent. With plenty of time before the season started, we could meet with multiple teams and make the right choice. 4. I had underestimated Izzy's influence. That night, the news that I wasn't re-signing with Horizon was trending everywhere. The announcement was followed by an avalanche of calls from nearly every team in the league. Izzy later told me she was on the phone until 3 in the morning. By the next day, I was getting personal calls from teams who had gotten my number from other players, hoping to set up a private meeting. They were ready to offer a max contract on spot. They promised that with me on board, attracting other top-tier talent would be easy. Building a super team was a given. I guarantee it, we'll find you the best support player in the league to partner with, one team owner told me. Some teams were already scheduling tryouts for support players, telling me I could handpick my own partner. Meanwhile, several of the league's top support players started messaging me directly. Some were just curious, asking where I was headed. A few others, who were also free agents, asked if I'd be willing to team up with them and look for an organization together. I politely declined them all. It was better to let Izzy handle everything. Once she had vetted the teams, we would decide on a list of meetings. That afternoon, I decided to stream. The moment I went live, my channel flooded with over 100,000 viewers. The chat was an unreadable waterfall of text. I laughed and told everyone to be patient, promising I'd announce my new team as soon as a decision was made. I thought it was a pretty standard, professional response. I started playing and streamed into the evening. As I was about to sign off, I glanced at the chat and saw a stream of angry comments. Leo is so full of himself. One championship, and he turns his back on his team. I can't believe I ever rooted for him. So much for being the future of American ADCs. Yeah, he really thinks he's the best in the world now, huh? Who cares if he's good at the game? He needs to learn how to be a decent person first. We don't support players with bad character. Unfollowed. The attacks kept coming, and my channel mods were frantically banning people. My actual fans were fighting back, but I was just sitting there completely baffled. What the hell was going on? I checked my phone. In my fan Discord, a mod had tagged me, saying Team Horizon's new owner was spreading rumors online, accusing me of trying to hold the team hostage for more money. I immediately opened up Twitter. Sure enough, Haley Reid had posted a series of videos over the last day. In them, she was tearfully accusing me of threatening to leave unless she'd double my salary. I stare at my phone, bewildered. Doubled? All I ever wanted was a 10% raise. And besides, my last contract was already at the league salary cap. With the recent cap increase, the most it could go up was 20%. Doubling it was literally impossible. But it didn't matter. Her videos went viral. The comment sections were filled with people calling me a traitor. Haley was a master manipulator. For the videos, she'd put on makeup to look worn out and distressed, crying into her hands as she recounted her fabricated story. She looked like a fragile, new boss being bullied by a greedy, entrenched veteran. Her damsel in distress act worked perfectly, sparking a protective instinct in her followers. Soon enough, my Twitch chat was overrun by trolls launching personal attacks. Once I understood what was happening, I was stunned. I couldn't believe her tactics, but it only strengthened my resolve to leave. Just then, Izzy called. She ordered me to end the stream immediately. Don't give them a platform, she said. Izzy, I can't just let this go. I seethed. You fool, she shot back. You think staying live is going to fix this? Your chat is a toxic cesspool right now, filled with people trying to stir things up. You can't reason with a mob. All it takes is for someone to clip you out of context, and you'll be in an even bigger hole. But, Izzy, what are you afraid of? Her voice was calm and steady. You have me, don't you? Relax. I'm not going to let you take the fall for this. 5. Izzy's counteroffensive was swift and brutal. First, she posted a clear, point-by-point breakdown of the holes in Haley's story, using league rules and my contract history as evidence. Then, she compiled my stats and achievements from the last 3 years and compared my salary to other ADCs of similar caliber in other regions. It turned out I was one of the most underpaid players for my performance level. She highlighted my spotless record, both in and out of the game, over my entire career. The idea that I would suddenly become a greedy villain based on a few tearful videos was absurd, and people started to realize it. The tide of public opinion began to turn. Finally, Izzy dropped the bombshell. She had someone leak proof that Haley had been using burner accounts on Reddit and other forums to personally attack me. That news blew up. The narrative completely flipped. Now, everyone was attacking Haley. Eagle-eyed users started digging up her old, problematic posts and other shady behavior from her influencer days. I was amazed. I had no idea Izzy had these kinds of connections. She just smiled. I've been in this business a long time. You learn a few tricks. You should take notes. With the online drama settled, Izzy began formally negotiating with other teams. Nearly every organization with an open ADC spot or a desire to upgrade made an offer. They presented not just lucrative contracts, but detailed roster plans designed to appeal to me. For me, the chance to win another championship was just as important as the money. After careful consideration, Izzy narrowed it down to 5 teams for me to meet with personally. Over the next few weeks, I stepped away from streaming and went into a series of back-to-back meetings. During that time, several major overseas teams even heard I was a free agent and sent over offers, which shot my name back to the top of the trending lists. I had to disconnect from social media entirely. I didn't have the time or energy to think about Team Horizon or their clueless owner. I was in a meeting with the 3rd team on our list, deep in conversation with their general manager, when the conference room door was violently thrown open. Standing there, furious, was Haley Reid. Flanking her were several large men from her staff, including my old manager, Mark, who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else on Earth. Haley stomped toward me on her high heels. Seeing the stacks of proposals and team data on the table, she swept her arm across it, sending everything scattering to the floor. "Leo, are you done with this little tantrum?" she shrieked. I frowned, wondering what new brand of insanity this was. "You just wanted a raise, didn't you?" she said, her voice dripping with scorn. "Did you really have to go through all this drama?" She looked at me with genuine disgust, as if she truly believed this entire free agency tour was just an elaborate scheme to force her to re-sign me. It took me a second to process her delusion, and I just looked at her with a smirk. A raise? Are you about to recycle that same sob story you peddled online? Haley's expression faltered, but she doubled down. Stop pretending. What good does leaving Horizon do for you? Do you really think any of these teams are serious? Do you have any idea what you're actually worth? She took a breath, trying to regain her composure. I've discussed it with my staff. In light of your past contributions to the team, I am willing to offer you a contract at your previous salary. But I'm warning you, don't push your luck again. I almost laughed out loud. It was so absurd it was comical. What had this woman been doing abroad for all those years? Watching Teletubbies. This time, Izzy was with me, and she wasn't about to let it slide. Ms. Reed, we have made it unequivocally clear that we will not be renewing with your organization, Izzy said, her voice dangerously calm. I suggest you leave now. Haley glared at Izzy, shocked that anyone would dare speak to her that way. But this was Izzy Croft, and unlike Haley, everyone in that room knew her reputation. The men with Haley looked terrified. In case you're confused, Izzy continued, her voice like ice, this is not your building. So get out. She gave a subtle wave of her hand. Instantly, two imposing men in black suits entered the room. They were built like linebackers and moved with professional efficiency. Haley and her entourage were promptly escorted out. With the interruption dealt with, our meeting resumed. Izzy, who had been the picture of cold fury moments before, was now smiling sweetly as if nothing had happened. The other team's GM, a man in his 40s, wiped a bead of sweat from his forehead and let out a long sigh of relief. Haley was technically his peer. He couldn't have said anything himself, no matter how out of line she was. Izzy, he said with a nervous chuckle, it certainly feels safe having you around. Izzy's smile widened, her eyelashes fluttering. On my turf, nobody causes trouble. With Izzy running interference, the rest of the meetings went smoothly. After meeting with all the prospective teams, my team and I deliberated for a long time. In the end, I decided to join a team called Velocity. Their playstyle was the best fit for me, and their existing roster was already strong. After that, it was just a matter of signing the contract, the official announcement, and going through the league's paperwork. When I arrived at the Velocity facility, the owner and the entire staff were lined up to greet me. They held a full welcome ceremony. My new teammates were incredibly friendly and welcoming. I felt a genuine sense of appreciation. A welcome party is a drop in the bucket for an organization's budget, but it was the gesture that mattered. It showed me that they respected me, that they understood my value to them. That, more than anything, was why I chose Velocity. The new season was about to begin, and I threw myself into a rigorous training schedule with my new teammates. We scrimmaged together, practiced new champions, and lived and breathed the game. Our coach was with us day and night, building a new strategic system tailored to our strengths. The days flew by, each one packed and productive. I felt happy, focused, and incredibly confident about the upcoming season. When the season kicked off, there was a lot of buzz around me. The FMVP who'd immediately jumped ship. Opposing teams targeted me relentlessly in every match, but our team's strategies and my own adaptable playstyle made it easy to counter. When the game was in a stalemate, I could have my support and jungler roam to create opportunities elsewhere while I held the bottom lane solo, safely farming and keeping the gold difference negligible. Opponents constantly felt pressure during the landing phase, and once their own strategy was disrupted, they would quickly fall behind. I directed my teammates, while playing, seamlessly transitioning from controlling resources in the early game to split pushing or team fighting in the late game. We dismantled our opponents with ease. Velocity, already a strong team, became a top contender with my arrival. As for Horizon, news about them was unavoidable. After I left, Haley finally seemed to grasp the crisis she was in. She immediately re-signed my 4 former teammates, and then focused on finding my replacement. And that's when her arrogance and ignorance kicked in again. When free agency first opened, there were plenty of decent ADCs on the market. But Haley insisted on personally overseeing the tryouts. She spent her days filming everything for her vlog, turning a serious professional process into content for her social media channels. It was a dual-purpose act, projecting an image of a hands-on owner while continuing to cultivate her gamer girl persona. Her standards, however, were ridiculously unrealistic. If a player made a single mistake during a tryout, she would tear into them, leaving them speechless. And she constantly brought me up. "Leo would never make such a basic mistake," she'd snap. "I'm not looking for a placeholder. Whoever we sign has to be better than that traitor, Leo." How can anyone find a suitable player with that kind of vindictive mindset? Time was running out, and the team's ADC spot was still empty. Then, Haley made a move that shocked everyone. When I saw Horizon's starting lineup, I was stunned into silence for a good minute. Haley had signed a popular Twitch streamer. His name was Cade Shaw. He had a massive online following and was famous for his flashy plays, absolutely destroying his opponents in solo queue with his signature champions. For pure entertainment value, he was better than most pros. Signing him brought a huge amount of hype to Horizon before the season even started. Haley, being an influencer herself, knew she couldn't pass up that kind of attention. She immediately went live on Twitch to explain her decision. She claimed that after her exhaustive search, the available pro players were all too passive for her taste. She wanted someone who would dominate the lane and put up flashy numbers. She went on a long monologue about reshaping Horizon's identity. She was moving away from the team's old, methodical style of play. She wanted a team that was aggressive, that took risks. A team that was exciting to watch would obviously attract more fans. With no pros left that met her standards, she had turned her attention to the streaming world. "There are tons of talented players there, right?" she'd reasoned. So she started lurking in various streams, scouting for her perfect ADC. It wasn't long before she was captivated by Cade's aggressive playstyle. Plus, he was already famous. Signing him would bring Horizon the one thing she cared about most: traffic. She contacted Cade, who, despite his online fame, was young and harbored a strong desire to prove himself on the professional stage. They were a perfect match. Haley signed him immediately. She had finally found my replacement. On her stream, someone asked if a streamer could handle the intensity of professional play. Haley was brimming with confidence. "I've watched a lot of Cade streams recently," she said. "He frequently gets matched with pro players in his games." She then smugly listed off the names of several well-known pros in the league. And when Cade faces them, he almost never loses his lane. In fact, he often dominates them. Doesn't that tell you everything you need to know? Solo queue isn't the same as a pro match. Can Cade even adapt to different strategies? The doubts started pouring in, but Cade's massive fan base quickly flooded the chat, drowning out any criticism. Seeing her new audience shower her with praise, Haley was convinced she'd made a genius move. I could almost see her fantasizing about Horizon finishing first in the league, with her taking the stage to give a victory speech as the brilliant owner who had made it all happen. In her mind, this was her stepping stone to her father's company, her coronation as the next CEO. Towards the end of the stream, she even started comparing me and Cade directly. She criticized my playstyle as boring, saying I only knew how to win through slow, methodical gameplay. "I am bringing the most advanced team management philosophy to Horizon," she declared. "Rest assured, this is going to be a team that will blow you all away." Her words, combined with Cade's own hype, ignited the fan bases. Horizon fans, Haley's followers, and Cade's subscribers all started spamming forums, proclaiming their team as the next dynasty. If anyone dared to disagree, they were met with a barrage of personal insults. Soon, the comment sections under any news related to Horizon became toxic war zones, alienating the rest of the community. They even started trolling my own social media accounts, calling me an ungrateful backstabber. The internet was a battlefield of their making. But to Haley, all publicity was good publicity. As long as it generated clicks, she welcomed it. Since taking over Horizon and announcing her grand reforms, her personal social media following had grown by over 1 million. 7. But in esports, talent is the only thing that matters. When the new season began, Team Horizon lost its first 5 matches. A perfect 0-5 record landed them squarely at the bottom of the league standings. Meanwhile, my team, Velocity, thanks to our strong teamwork, started the season with a flawless 5-0 record, putting us in first place. The online narrative flipped overnight. Haley, who had been basking in the glow of her newfound popularity, was now facing a firestorm of criticism. Even Cade's own fans started attacking her online. The backlash from chasing clout was swift and merciless. And as fate would have it, our sixth match of the season was Velocity versus Horizon. Even though our records were polar opposites, the pre-game hype was off the charts. Everyone was waiting to see me dismantle my old team. That was exactly what I planned to do. This match was for settling all scores, new and old. During the pre-game setup, I ran into Haley backstage. She was dressed in a sharp business suit, but even her usual icy composure couldn't hide the exhaustion on her face. The recent online backlash was clearly taking its toll on the proud heiress. When she saw me, however, she immediately put her arrogant mask back on. "Well, if it isn't the former FMVP," she sneered. "I bet you're enjoying all the praise online, calling you the best shooter in the world. But let me tell you something, Leo," she spat. "Don't get too cocky. The season has just started." I was speechless. "The best shooter in the world?" I replied calmly. "Sorry, I haven't been paying much attention to social media lately." My casual dismissal infuriated her. "Esports isn't won by whoever talks the most online," I continued. "It doesn't matter how many followers you have, or how many personas you create. The only thing that speaks here is skill. If you can't win, you're a loser. It's that simple." Haley was livid. "Who the hell do you think you are, lecturing me? I'm telling you, you just got lucky. You really think you have what it takes? I could find 2 random players off the street who are better than you." I stopped listening, turning my back on her tirade. I walked away, leaving her with one last thought. "You should focus on figuring out how to get your first win. I'm busy chasing my next championship trophy." How could someone focused on clicks ever understand the drive for a championship? At that moment, I was more certain than ever that leaving had been the right decision. The match began. In the early game, my support and I faced off against Cade and his partner, who were known for their aggressive landing. We held our own, giving up nothing. I was the reigning FMVP. Landing was not a weakness of mine. By the 8-minute mark, I had already built a significant advantage. Cade was talented, no doubt, but without professional, systematic training, his mechanics and decision-making couldn't compare to mine. I constantly punished his small mistakes, forcing him to recall to base with low health, causing him to fall further and further behind in gold and experience. Then, I sent my support to roam with our jungler, applying pressure to the other lanes. Soon, I could see Cade and his support's movements becoming erratic and desperate. I knew he was fuming, watching me flawlessly handle a 2 versus 1 situation while he could do absolutely nothing about it. Finally, Cade couldn't take it anymore. As a wave of minions pushed forward, he suddenly lunged at me. I dodged his support stun, but Cade didn't back down. He was committing to an all-in fight. I smirked and retreated toward our side of the map. Just as he closed in, my jungler and support emerged from the fog of war, catching him completely by surprise. We killed both Cade and his support, then immediately took the dragon and cleared out their jungle camps. Their mid laner and jungler rushed down to help, but with Cade dead, they were outnumbered and didn't dare engage. They could only watch as we seized complete control of the bottom half of the map. As my teammates prepared to fall back, I stopped them. "They'll be desperate to get back to lane," I said. "Let's set up an ambush and kill him again." Cade was an open book. I had already figured out his habits. Sure enough, a tilted Cade respawned and immediately charged straight back down the lane, ignoring everything else. He was just too predictable. I could almost hear his teammates spamming retreat pings in his headset. As he passed between his own towers, the 3 of us jumped him from a brush and killed him again. This time, with a massive minion wave crashing and their ADC dead, we started taking down towers. We destroyed their first turret, forcing the rest of Horizon to group up at their second tower to defend. Losing 2 towers in a row would be catastrophic. Seeing them grouped up, I immediately directed my team to establish vision in the top side of the map, preparing to make a play for the Baron. Cade's 2 deaths had thrown his team into a panic, and they were reacting to our every move, letting us lead them by the nose. We set up our vision, and, at the right moment, we started the Baron, forcing them to respond. By now, all 3 lanes were pushed in our favor. Horizon couldn't even trade objectives, They had no choice but to walk into our trap. After a few hesitant pokes, Cade once again got caught out of position. The ensuing team fight was a massacre. We secured the Baron and pushed straight into their base. Through my noise-canceling headphones, I could hear the roar of the crowd. The difference in skill between our two teams was obvious to everyone. With the Baron buff, we marched to their base. After a bit of back and forth, we wiped them out one last time. As their nexus exploded, the final score was 14-0. They hadn't taken a single one of our towers, not even one dragon. When I took off my headphones, the entire arena was chanting, "Perfect game! Perfect game!" I threw my hands in the air, a wave of pure exhilaration washing over me. 9. It was just one game in the regular season, but the impact on Team Horizon was devastating. That night, a video leaked online. It showed Haley and Cade in a screaming match backstage. "What the hell is wrong with you? I saw your potential. I gave you this chance, and you play like that? I must have been blind to ever sign a fraud like you." Cade, who had been simmering with his own rage, fired back. "You're blaming me? Who the hell are you? All you do is talk about clicks and followers, filming videos, and spewing nonsense. Now that you've been exposed, you're looking for a scapegoat. You're the one who kept talking about your advanced management philosophy. Look what you've done to this team. You've single-handedly destroyed it." The argument was so heated, they didn't even notice someone secretly filming them. Once the video hit the internet, Cade's fans exploded. They flooded Haley's social media accounts. "You make all these promises, and when you can't deliver, you blame everyone else." Manipulative witch. All you ever did was use Cade for his clout. Cade is our ADC king. He's not your scapegoat, Haley. I knew there was something off about you. So fake and conniving. Your dad buys you a championship team, and you run it into the ground. You have absolutely zero ability. I could have put a dog in the owner's chair, and Horizon wouldn't be this bad. Overwhelmed by the online hate, Haley disabled the comments on her accounts. But her followers weren't done. They immediately moved on to her father's corporation's official social media pages, spamming every post. The company was forced to issue a statement clarifying that Team Horizon operated independently and had little to do with the parent corporation. But you can't reason with an online mob. Soon, the corporation had to shut down its comment sections, too. At one point, their official website was hacked. The homepage was replaced with just 4 words: "Get out, Haley Reid." Finally, bowing to the immense public pressure, the corporation announced that Haley was stepping down from the team's management. They were bringing in an experienced professional to take over. It took a long time and a lot of effort from multiple parties to finally quiet the storm. Haley vanished from the public eye. There was no news of her ever joining her father's company. Cade left the team and went back to streaming. Horizon was granted a special roster exception, but there were no high-caliber players left to sign. They ended up bringing an old, retired ADC out of retirement just to finish the season. Unsurprisingly, they didn't even make the playoffs. My team, Velocity, on the other hand, tore through the league, won the championship, and secured the first ticket to the World Championship. After the finals, I led my teammates to the center of the stage to thank the fans who had supported us all year. And then, in the crowd, I saw her. It was Haley. She was wearing a mask and sunglasses, trying her best to hide in plain sight. I allowed myself a small smile. All of that was in the past. My focus was now on the future and on my second World Championship trophy.